Greetings, everyone. How's your Saturday going? Mine's going pretty well. I was reading a couple of emails that came from a wonderful, talented man by the name of James Kelleher. And he is a Vedic astrologer. The name for that is called Yotish. If astrology is a little too far out there for you, then just cut the video off. Just don't even watch it. But I recommend that you do. James did my child Zawa's natal chart in October of 1995, so 25 years ago. And everything that he had on my son's natal chart was absolutely spot on, including that we left our native California, where I was 42 years old, or just about to turn 42. We left in June of 2002. We made a trek across country of over 2,000 miles. We made it a fun one. We took weeks, to just go through Idaho and visit people and stop and do some hiking and stay in hotels for a few days here and a few days there. We made it a lot of fun. But James had put on the natal astrology that he did for us while I held my baby in my arms outside in the sun, and we did this, and then he put it on a cassette tape and gave it to me. Later, I transferred it to a CD. That my son would have a major geographical move around the age of 7. When I was diagnosed with ovarian carcinoma in 2008, only because I was taken to the hospital by ambulance and my stomach had collapsed. I had been diagnosed with Clostridium difficile, C. diff, colitis, and advanced carcinoma, ovarian cancer. They'd done a CA-125, which is a blood antigen test. They had CT scanned me, which I would have never agreed to. And they also did open me up and took a look, all while they had me passed out, kept me passed out, and conducted the test on me. And I'm sure for a lot of people in their mind, it was looked at as proactive and helpful and necessary. It was in favor of medical advice, but it wasn't something I would have agreed to doing. I went simply because I was dehydrated and I couldn't stand up or hold any fluids. Vedic astrology, when done correctly, is a very ancient system. It's ancient and it's amazing. And one of the things that it foretells through Buddhism and Hinduism and Jainism and all of the different variety of religions and practices and cultures often found throughout East India, in India, have gurus who have devoted their lives, very similar to shamans, but we're very different on a different level. Okay, so the gurus, of which there are very relatively few anymore, real genuine gurus, have predicted and prophesied that around December 20th, 21st of this year will be the end of Dharma. So what is Dharma? Well, I probably am not the perfect person to explain what Dharma is. And in the Western language, there are not words that can actually adequately address what karma is. But part of what karma is that I can explain is that it's cosmic law, it's nature. It's the balance of all things. So when James Kelleher did my natal chart, he said, it is in your Dharma to be a shaman, a healer, so medicine woman. It's what you live and breathe. I mean, secondary to my being a woman and being a mother, my heart is mother and connected to great mother. Then secondary to that, my innate nature is that of a shaman, one who's connected with the ancestors, who's very deeply connected with nature. And I mean deeply. I have to go out into nature to feel whole, to feel connected. Nature is my family, now more so than ever before. Animals are nature. The human animal is nature. Weather is nature. The birds, the fins, the feathers. Having swam with the dolphins because I was out doing my scuba diving many years ago before my son was born. I was doing underwater modeling, and I got to dive in fabulous places in the world, in Catalina, Monterey, Hawaii. I've traveled in many places in the world, intentionally seeking out to learn, because I know I'm not going to learn just by sitting in America. I'm not going to learn just by sitting in a seat and taking in textbook education, education. In the late 1970s, some of my primary teachers that built the house, the foundation of which I am in, were Rastafari elders, or what we respectfully refer to, ancients. We call them ancients with a capital I. Okay? And it was during that time that I was informed that I would do better, I would fare better, if I got rid of the tele-lie. Peter Tosh called it the tele-lie, the television, the TV. You see fire over there? So it was finally 1984. I had learned about this in the late 70s that I just said, that's it, no more TV. I'd always felt when my mother had to have a microwave, no way, there's never going to be a microwave in my home. I will pull out a pan. And people have had all kinds of, issues, or I can't believe you got to pull out a pan to heat up your hot chocolate or whatever. But hey, a little bit of my nut milk and a whisk and a little bit of some cacao powder and a little bit of some sweetener and a little bit of some Ceylon cinnamon in there. And I got some banging hot chocolate, and I don't mind making it in the pan. You know what I mind? I mind when I'm being told to slap on identity coverings. I mind when there's talk of ridiculous nature that says you're about to potentially lose your medical freedom. I mind when I have invested 37 adult years and over $100,000, meaning there's people I've got to pay. The books that I just got that are sitting over there, I had to pay for them at thrift books and old bookstores, because I wanted the knowledge that people that are not around anymore wrote in those books. So what is this live stream about? The word fuck is to dominate. So we're all fucking each other. We're getting fucked by the system. If we do what Peggy Hall talked about in the paid training that I was in last night for 2.5 hours from 4 to 6:30. Thank you, Peggy. Very thankful for all the hard work you put together, Peggy Hall, on Facebook, thehealthyamerican.org. She said getting your COVID testing is akin to human trafficking. And why is that? Why would she call it human trafficking? Let me tell you why. Because number one, it's an experiment. You don't know what's in it when they shove that thing up your nose. And number two, somebody's getting paid, and it sure isn't you. So these are things you got to think about, okay? When I was a little girl, and I was 4 and 5 years old, I remember sitting in my bedroom in San Jose, California. We had moved from Dent Avenue over to Searcy Drive. My wonderful friend, Winona Hennebree Weaver, she was a neighbor around the corner from me from the age of 5 to about 15. We still talk on the phone and really have a great time together. I love you, Nona. But I lived kitty corner, so my house was on a corner of a block. Houses were on blocks. Start thinking about the word sound here too. So my house was on the corner, and just across the street were the Krasnarich brothers, 4 brothers that became just like my brothers, one that was the same age as me. And right next to the Krasnarich house, where the Mama Krasnarich still lives, was a PG&E plant. If you think that the Krasnariches, and the people right on the corners of that block were not affected by the signals, the frequency, the radiation, and the change in our environment because of living proximate to an electrical facility that changed the electrical vibration of our body, you'd be mistaken. Okay? Back it up. My thyroid was affected. Mr. Krasnarich ended up with cancer in the 70s. Most of our people and many of the family members that had older adults in the family ended up with goiters. But the FDA recommends an amount of iodine only sufficient to potentially keep you out of goiters. It's a very small amount in micrograms. So the average person who buys salt and salts their food and uses sodium chloride, or even goes, well, I've learned I need to buy pink salt. And they're buying pink salt from Pakistan, which is dyed and doesn't have a high nutrient value to it, a high content. They don't know. So they're getting duped. And furthermore, they're hardening their arteries internally. So what does all this have to do with Dharma? What is she getting to? What's the point? Here we go. When I get on Facebook, which is a drug, social media is a drug, they know that you're a human animal and you need human connection. So now you're going to turn to these platforms. Think of like getting on a subway. You're going to get onto these platforms, and it's the next level up, taking you out of your Dharma, your nature. So you see more and more people going into van dwelling, winter camping, leaving behind, the big bill for rent. Okay. If I'm going to pay someone $800, $900, $1,000, $2,000 to squat somewhere, it better be damn comfortable. I better be respected. And I better feel good in that environment. If I begin to feel that I'm going to be disrespected in that environment, or that I'm unsafe in that environment, or I can't trust my belongings in that environment, then it's a poor investment. So this is what I share with people often. If I go to Peggy Hall's training for 2.5 hours and I pay to go to it, and I'm so thankful that I got to attend it, time-wise, investment-wise, money-wise, all the way around, very thankful, took lots of notes, copious notes. And I'm going to have a conversation with someone. The first thing out of my mouth is going to be, hey, bless up, good to see you. What can you share with me about what you learned last night? Because I was not at the training. What do I need to know? So we need to use our time wisely. But as I started to say, getting on Facebook and social platforms, I get on Ask an Herbalist. I went to herbal school in the year 2000, Michael Tierra, and it's now called East West. It used to be called American School of Herbalism. So I know a few things about herbs. I know a few things about healing because I've been a medicine woman for 37 years. I know a few things about dreadlocks because this is my 4th set, okay? 4th time. I know a few things about growing hair. I know a few things about regenerating. I know a few things about, keeping the weight off and losing weight at 59, almost 60 years old. I know a few things about addiction because I just went through 4 hard fucking years of life or death and panic and 20 plus times of Narcaning and in and out of the hospital and finding out they don't do shit. They don't know what to do. The only thing they know how to do is dispense another drug like Ativan, lorazepam, which carries suicidal ideation. So when I go in these forums, On Facebook, I write on Quora with 2.2 million content views at Karen Pringle on Quora. I'm here on YouTube with over 100 videos. I'm not here to be Barbie. I'm not here to be the average person. I'm here to be me, shaman and a medicine woman. Shamans connect with the ancestors, and the medicine woman gets to the real root causatives, not the cliche. But because you've been so, you've been so fucked in this environment, you've been so traumatized in so many ways, putting it in chemicals, toxic elements, lead, cadmium, arsenic, bismuth. You know, you probably got mamas and sisters and aunties and cousins and you name it, partners and former partners that are females that are going to dye their hair. And when they dye their hair, the dark colors and the black colors, those have commonly and most commonly contain lead. You're all right, Farrah. By his mama's protector. When you bleach and strip out your hair and it turns into like a head of hay, trust me, I would rather have you find me culturally appropriating and misappropriating. And maybe, like you said on the comment last night, if I could remember your name, said, CED, Brahman. I know a few things about dreadlocks, and I know that they're a crown of resistance. That's what I stand for. I'm not trying to copycat anybody. I'm not trying to be melanated or black. I'm as powerful as I am. Okay? I earned it. So I'm looking for builders, not backbiters. Builders, not backbiters. Builders go, hey, wait a minute, she was in grief. She had a lot of stress going on. Look at her, but she's pulling back up. She's regenerating. Look at her skin and her hair. I cut my hair off. My dreads were down to the end of my back. Okay? When I go on these platforms and I answer the questions in the Herbalist, or I've got a question, or wellness forums, I can't sleep. I've got anxiety. I've got restless legs. I'm sweating all the time. I've always got pain all the time in my right leg. I've got this rash over here and over here. You cannot say, go drink some cranberry tea and do some blah, 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 because you haven't put in the time to figure out the individual biochemistry, as Dr. Rick Malter talked about. I like to accredit people where credit is due. Dr. Sabi, Dr. Malter, Dr. Watts, Dr. Eck. I could keep going and going and going, because an intelligent individual knows there's no end to learning. I never stop learning. And I use my time very, very wisely. My time, my money. I will look to build with you if we can talk on the phone, if we can make plans that are viable, but right now is not the time if you're not ready in the mind. You need to be ready in the mind. So if December 20th and 21st, the soul, S-O-L, the solstice, the sun, and the sun is not what you think it is by any means, nothing is the end of Dharma, righteousness, connection with nature, cosmic law, good over evil, living your true innate balance. Some of you are meant to be builders. Some of you are meant to explore wonderful technology that is not harmful to other human beings. Some of you are meant to cradle the babies, and that is your innate Dharma. Shamans, hear the ancestors. From the time I've been very, very, very little, very young. And Grandma worked with me at the age of 4 in 1965. In California, in San Jose. I was born in San Francisco in 1961. Grandmother said, "These are what the auras are. What do you see?" I can't. Yes, you can. Here's how you do it. What's on the piece of paper? I don't know, Grandma. Yes, you do. Really? If we do not prepare, if we simply usher in human trafficking because we don't know what's on the swab, we don't know what we're being tested for, we don't even know if in fact we're in fact being vaccinated like they do cattle, up the nose, okay? We don't know. We don't know who's getting paid. So that does, as Peggy Hall broke it down, amount to human trafficking to me. Maybe it does to you too. I hope I can share that nugget with you out of a wide range of nuggets that I got last night in the training for $29. You can still buy the training and go watch it was recorded. Okay? But if you're not serious enough to get on board and make it a priority during the day and make a plan, then you're not ready. Okay? Other people want to make a plan. They want to have something better. They want to be prepared. And so that's why I've shown you the gift cards, the many little things. In fact, I'm going to show you one more thing. Give me one moment here. These are 2 for $5 at Menards. And I tested them out last night. They've got great batteries. They also go to a dim. They also go to a pulsing. They've got a little magnet on the back, so if you're traveling, you can kind of stick it on the dash. It's also got a little clip. So what I did is I clipped it onto my jacket, and I went out for a walk, and they work really well. So you get 2 of these. I think it's 2 for $5 at Menards. They probably have them many places. Okay. So pick up little things for yourself. So, they're going to help you along in your journey. When I was 4, I used to say, what's the purpose of my life? Why am I even here? What is the purpose of your life? Why are you here? Are you here to build? I can see it's lagging again. Are you here to connect people? Are you here to invent ways that we are all going to be able to live outside of a predatory system so that others are able to live their Dharma? Now, the image, the thumbnail, we call it on my YouTube presentation today, shows, 2 loops intersecting, and in the middle you see the Vesica Pisces that shows the positive qualities between Dharma and karma. And a lot of people, like I used to, think that karma is nothing more than just a consequence of your actions. And that's why I posted articles, because I'm not a teacher about Dharma and karma, nor am I a teacher about Indian ways that Indian people should be teaching from, India. But Dharma, to live your Dharma and to help your children to find what innately is theirs, is different than all the things that the children today have absorbed on the telely and watching mommy cook in the microwave and watching mommy say, come on, we're all going to go to Victoria's Secret. We're all going to go to the mall and go shopping. is different than we're all going to go out for a walk, is different than let's all get together in the kitchen and prepare a meal, is different than let's all get together and go to the farmer's market. When I raised my son in Santa Cruz until he was 7, it was every Wednesday and usually on the weekend as well. We were at the farmer's market. We were meeting with the people that grew the food. He was always getting his frozen pomegranate juice that was thawing out as the guy would, set them in the ice. He had to freeze them to bring them fresh pomegranate juice, which is a blood cleaner, one of the most powerful blood cleaners I use with my clients. So when I'm asked all of these questions on social media platforms, like I talked about the subway, launching us into the next socially isolating platform, because they know that you're going to be addicted. We need to connect. We need that. I'm usually going to say, I'm not going to just throw one thing. Okay, you just drink the pomegranate juice. You just go drink chaparral tea. I'm going to have you just take Shilajit, and over you just need Tulsi. No, because you are now an amalgamation of poor habits that you don't even understand and understand when you eat the certain things you ate that day. Why, when you wake up in the middle of the night, it feels like your arm is numb. It's because your body is coagulated. It's becoming stagnant. The energy isn't moving through it properly. Okay? So, you sit on the toilet and it takes you 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I've been crapping on the toilet and out in nature for 30 plus years, and it's done in a half a second. It slips right out. And if you're eating, foods that are mucilaginous and bitter, and in Ayurveda have all the different tastes, and you're rotating the colors and eating lots of fiber and lots of water, it's only because America fucked you over and made you feel like you were incompetent if you ate wrong and you wouldn't get the right nutrients, because they sold you one-a-day multi-hard vitamins. And they sold you into a form of slavery called the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the vaccine industry. It's a form of fucking. It's called domination. They dominated your mind, your mother's mind, your grandmother's mind, and your great-grandmother's mind. And there's just a few people, and I'm very fortunate to hail from them, that weren't fucked in the mind in 1965. Because most of them, 99.8% of them, were fucked. All they wanted was their Wonder Bread, their balloon bread. We called it air bread. They started brominating the flour. Grandma started reclusing and secluding. That's why I did that live stream for you. Because in retrospect, meaning I didn't get it in 1981, but I sure as the hell got it in the year 2010. I was like, whoa, I'm going to have to write a book about thyroid, because I'm like a poster child for it. The PG&E plant that Nona reminded me about, the radiation experiments done in Nevada, the I-131 radiation, the brominated wheat that we all growing up on with the Wonder Bread we had to have, the cow milk we were all drinking in the endocrine disrupting plastic jugs that was pasteurized. We have completely fucked over the animals in the factory farms. I've been a raw feeder for big, huge bully dogs, Presa Canarios, Cane Corsos, Rottweilers, rescued at least 50 pit bulls. I've helped a lot of people. And now I've also got a teeny tiny dog, Pablo, who's a 5-pound Chihuahua that Christina and brought home and was with my son, she and my son. I can't talk today. So you can't just answer someone's question, oh, you just need this. So I was very thankful that a woman put in the Ask an Herbalist group on Facebook, you really need to sit down with somebody and kind of figure out what's going on. It's not like going into your doctor's office and there's going to be 3 choices of drugs based on your diagnosis and your symptoms. So for me to look at severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS-CoV-2, aka coronavirus, NKA, next known assault, COVID, I go, you must be fucking joking. Because there's only a few things on earth that will seriously compromise your breathing. One of them is becoming completely congested and congealed and fully fucking toxic from food drugs and food chemicals. And you're eating them every day. Whether you go buy them at the natural food store and they're vegan, gluten-free cookies or, and vegan, gluten-free ice cream. I have never had so many problems than when I eat the Ben & Jerry's non-dairy ice cream. I swear to God. I love that stuff. But when I eat it, I have to wake up and my arm is going partially numb. My mood is kind of jacked the next day. My throat gets kind of jacked. And because I'm repairing my adrenals, because my son died just a little over a year ago, I jacked my thyroid pretty significantly. Grief will do absolutely horrible things, and so will high-level, unrelenting stress for years. 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to feel it. Especially if it's your only child that you spent 24 years with. You're going to feel it. I'm feeling it. And I'm here sharing with you on the eve, on the precipice of things you don't want to have happen. So unfuck your mind when it comes to your diet. If you buy little pumpkins and you buy zucchini and you buy cucumbers, you buy lettuces, you buy radishes, you buy yams, you buy sweet potatoes, you buy fingerling potatoes, you buy plums, you buy strawberries, you buy dragon fruit. Bless up, Whitney. You buy biodynamic raisins. You buy jackfruit. You buy melons, cantaloupes, and canary melons. Snap peas and green peas. You go to the store and you do what I learned a very long time ago, and you look around at the store, or better yet, as we said, the farmer's market. What is freshest looking, affordable, and you put it in your refrigerator or on your counter, and you say to yourself, I'm going to have to eat that today. So there's many, many times that my recipes evolved from saying, I've got some spinach and arugula from Aldi's, it's organic in there, and it's probably not going to last 2 more days. I had made some wild rice, which, being on a budget, I had bought 5 bags of wild rice at Walmart because wild rice is unbelievably expensive now. I live in Minnesota where it's like wild rice. Wild rice is here, But if you cook it just right, and in the end you put your Celtic sea salt, and a little in the water. You put a little coconut oil in the end, And I had bought a bag of carrots, because I said, I haven't eaten carrots for a long time. I'm really kind of craving carrots. And it was a small 1.5, 3-pound bag. I don't know which one, but organic carrots. I scrubbed them, cut the bottoms off, put them in some water so they could uptake the water, something I figured out a very long time ago. Rehydrate the food that's been sitting in a bag in the refrigerator, which I really don't like to do, but I will on occasion. Put some peas in there. Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. Carrots and peas and wild rice. A little bit of coconut oil. If you're, hey, I can't have oils, I'm too toxic, it's going to really affect me, my arm falls asleep, don't have oil. I get it. I don't eat oil very often, but I do on occasion during the winter especially, not during the summer. All right? So vary the foods by the color, the fiber. Try things that you're like, I've never had that before. I think I'm going to try that, right? I've got persimmons. I make persimmon smoothies. I've got jackfruit. I make jackfruit smoothies. If you open it up and the fruit's dried, make sure it's, not has the sulfites on it. You don't want to have the sulfites because they swell the brain like the MSG. So go to nuts.com and buy your persimmons and your jackfruit and your dragon fruit. Your freeze-dried strawberries and blackberries are going to be healthier than the regular dried, where they're adding the sugar to it. Okay, so this went over half an hour. I'm sorry about that. I didn't want to blah, blah, blah too much. But I wanted you to be aware of the prophecy by a really great, highly respected guru in India that James Kelleher has studied with for decades. And he made the prophecy that December 20th, it's the 20th or the 21st, I think it's the 20th, right as we hit the solstice, we had a potential for the end of Dharma. What I'm asking for, what's the solution, is connection, coming together. Together, we support each other. Together, we can all sleep together on the ground. I was watching people out doing winter camping in tents on a YouTube video last night. And I was like, wow, that looks amazing. I didn't know anything about winter because I was coming from California, but now I've been here in Northeast Minnesota for 19 years. I've driven through the worst of it in an SUV, excuse me, to go get my child when he was up at a skiing hill, or he was out with buddies and he was stuck and we had a problem outside, big winter storm. I got the window down, I got my head out, and I'm just driving, with the dogs in the car and my phone fully charged up. You're going to do what you're going to do, right? And you never underestimate a mother. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to have more solutions and tips, little ideas like this, big ideas, prophecies, information about astrology, about what shamans really are, about things and how you could be living a plant-based diet like I covered today, about why you can't just ask the herbalist or ask in a wellness, well, what do I do about this? You can, and you can get a very general answer. But remember, obtaining your hair tissue mineral analysis test, which you may have never heard of before, and the link is down below this video. So you can get the test and the consult. I'm studying about an hour before each individual's session of a half an hour through your wellness form and your patient report. And then I get on the screen with you. And I succinctly cover exactly what you need to do. So you know what to go by, you know what to do, you know if it's going to be a long range or it's a fairly simple something to handle. But you need that because you're not getting that from the doctors. Not most of them, not 90% of them. 80% of our people, especially women, are being born copper toxic, but males too. Excuse me. So about 80% of our people, I was one of them. And so I have to manage my copper levels. Some people are so deficient in copper because it's either completely bound in the liver and it's lowering their ceruloplasmin levels, or it's creating mental health issues. And now you're diagnosed as bipolar or schizophrenia, and it's really just a copper issue. Let me help you. I do not practice medicine. I cannot give medical advice. I can suggest ideas for you based on the patient report. And I think you're going to be very thankful that you had that. So don't hesitate to get this while you can. There's a link down below. Make sure and get your own. Thanks for joining me. Make it a great day. I love you all.